People have been saying that the notification goes off at 3:30 AM for this Sunday show. Why the f are we uploading videos at 3:30, Mike, in the morning?
It's because we hate you. It's simple as that. We want you to wake up in the middle of the night. We kind of plan things to be as insulting and upsetting to you as possible. That's one of the ways. That's one of the key ways that we do that. It's just scheduling things at like the most inconvenient times possible, just to annoy you. Actually, fuck with you. Not everyone, just you.
First up in the news this week is some fake news about For Honor. It's been well publicised that since its release, Ubisoft's medieval multiplayer brawlers not been doing well when it comes to player numbers. Since its release, it's been widely reported by outlets all over the internet, including everyone's favourite amateur hour Rooster Teeth ripoffs, that's us, that For Honor's player base has fallen off dramatically. But the game's creators have dismissed all those headlines as fake news. Yes, despite the fact that you can see just how well For Honor is doing thanks to publicly available Steam numbers and the excellent work of independent sites like Steam Spy and GitHub, For Honor community manager Eric Pope rubbish claims the game is struggling. Pope said in a recent Warriors Den livestream, "We have a lot of players in For Honor. Believe it or not, fake news people, we have a lot of players in For Honor."
All these news reports are wrong, is what the guy is saying. Which is ridiculous, and obviously had every games journalist who reported on this saying, "You're just being an idiot." From his point of view, I guess, I mean, we've got is Steam numbers. We haven't got Uplay numbers. We haven't got console numbers. So maybe the Steam numbers are an anomaly, and everything else is rosy, but Steam is doing shit. But if that was the case, wouldn't they tell us? Wouldn't they have gone, "Yeah, but our Uplay numbers are amazing," or they would have said, "Yeah, our PlayStation numbers are amazing." But they haven't. He's
been very specific with his wording here. We have a lot of players in For Honor. Now, what is a lot of players for you? It's different for me. A lot of players is more than a couple of thousand not being able to get matched in the game. That's not a lot of players.
Also, can we just stop saying fake news, for f***'s sake?
I feel like anyone who says fake news is associated with Trump, therefore they talk shit all the time.
It's just one person says it enough times, and then everyone.
It's so bad.
And in other news, the Destiny 2 beta went live this week as Bungie and Activision ramp up the hype for their sci-fi shooter sequel due out in September. We done a video on it on Friday. Players wasted no time at all testing the limits of the fairly lightweight beta, with some forcing their way into incomplete areas of the game.
That sounds very sexual for me. I don't know. It's just in my mind. Every sexual pun that's in there just comes out.
Sounds like rape. Just hours after the game went live, players found their way into what's described as a lost sector on the planetoid Nessus. Lost sectors are new dungeon-style areas accessible in the game's patrol, or basically free roam, mode. There's not all that much to see at the moment because it's mainly just incomplete geometry, but it is interesting. Oh, there's also an Easter egg in the game involving Paul McCartney, who wrote a shit song for the original.
What's the name of the song? Yeah, I was just thinking if there's any sort of pun with the title of the song that we could put at the end.
Nope for the future, grope for the future.
Elsewhere in the headlines, it might be common knowledge that online multiplayer games have their fair share of trolls, toxic players you might call them. League of Legends, Dota 2 and Overwatch are just a few of the games most notable for the, let's say, impassioned fans. Overwatch in particular is noteworthy for trolls who do things like throw the game if they don't get it their own way, or play a certain character just to annoy someone. Blizzard have said that they have plans to fix the game's toxic community by balancing the game. They will soon tackle the more controversial trolls with the new punishment system, which will be unveiled soon. Given that Overwatch is becoming more associated with angry players, it's understandable that Blizzard is looking for ways to distance themselves from this image before it eclipses the game's reputation.
It is kind of, for some reason, seen as having a particularly toxic community, and it's even like self-aware, because when we were looking at the story, when we were doing some research on it, there's forum threads in the official Overwatch forums where they're asking, why are we so bad? Why is this so toxic? Why, you'll ask a question, boom, you get hate, and there's all like lists of different things that you can do wrong in Overwatch that'll get you a load of hate for the players. What community online doesn't have its fair share of toxicity, I guess.
There's loads of haters in our comments that we just ignore most of the time.
Yeah,
so.
It just exists. There's just like an undercurrent wherever you go on the internet, whichever comment section, whichever forum thread you jump into, whichever game you play, there's always going to be arseholes there, I guess. But I mean, fair play to Blizzard for trying to tackle this, I suppose. Yeah. Who wants to play games with knobheads? No one. Get rid of them.
What kind of punishment system do you foresee them unveiling? What do you think?
Yeah, that is interesting. I don't know. I mean, it implies that they're going to let them keep playing the game, but there's going to be some kind of negative effects.
Timeout or
I don't know. Like, I really don't know.
Temporary ban or something. I don't know.
A temporary ban is quite, quite an obvious one, but they could be quite creative with it. This sounds like they're trying to think of creative ways to do it that doesn't necessarily just kick them out. There's got to be something creative that they can do there. Also in the news, some people on the internet are absolutely convinced that the Game of Thrones Season 7 premiere, which aired a week ago, contained a reference to The Last of Us. And by the way, don't worry, there's no spoilers ahead here. Not any real ones anyway. In a 1-second line, one of the series' main characters, Jaime Lannister, tells his sister Cersei, "We really are The Last of Us." While this isn't an actual line of dialogue from the game, it was a meme made on NeoGAF. It doesn't seem likely that the Game of Thrones writers would reference a meme from NeoGAF, but The Last of Us director Neil Druckmann did call out the line on Twitter after the episode aired. This stirred up all sorts of speculation online, with many saying it was thrown in intentionally as a nod, given Nikolai Coster-Waldau's resemblance to Joel from The Last of Us. There were also rumours that Maisie Williams, who plays Arya Stark in the show, was approached to play Ellie in the upcoming movie adaptation. Is there anything to this, really? Christ knows.
This is just the internet being the internet and making a load of stuff out of nothing, and not, there's no confirmation for any of this. There's no hard evidence that this was ever intended, as well as there's no evidence that Maisie Williams will be playing Ellie in the movie, which apparently is in
development hell.
Development hell anyway. So yeah, just I don't know, just making articles out of bullshit.
This is clickbait. Liam, you said Maisie Williams she mentioned something on Reddit or something. She did an AMA.
She did an AMA where she told about the possibility of being Ellie.
So there are loose strings there, but saying we are,
all he said was we are the Last of Us.
We really are the Last of Us. It raised my eyebrow. I got to admit, I was like, oh. But then that was it. I was just, I didn't think, was that intentional? Yeah.
And then people saying that he's like Joel, he looks like Joel, so it must be. He looks like, off. A lot of people look like Joel.
Confirmed.
He's got a bit of a beard. And remember a couple of weeks ago, we were laughing at people complaining about the Crash Bandicoot remake being too hard? Well, it turns out they had a point. When the Crash Bandicoot N. Sane trilogy launched at the end of June this year, many people were claiming changes to the way jumping worked made the platformer too damn hard in some places. We, of course, laughed at these people. However, Vicarious Visions, developers of the trilogy, have now said N. Sane Collection actually is harder than the original games. As reported in a blog post by Kevin Kelly, editorial manager at Activision, developers say jumping in the N. Sane trilogy works different than the original games, and the fall after releasing the jump now happens much quicker. The developer also confirmed that collision detection works differently from the original games, and certain jumps require more precision to land correctly. And how are they going to fix this? Well, they aren't. Kelly recommended playing Crash 2 and 3 first because they were much easier than the original, and once players have grasped the new mechanics, then they should play the first game. Kelly concluded his post by saying, "We're sure you're up to the task."
We were wrong. We didn't have to write this. We didn't have to write this script. We didn't have to read it out. We didn't have to include it in the video. But we did. Because we're great. In other news, Kingdom Hearts fans have been waiting almost 12 years for another mainline game in the Disney fantasy crossover series. Now, finally, Square Enix has confirmed Kingdom Hearts 3 will release sometime in 2018 and will include content based off the Toy Story universe. Speaking at the D23 Disney Expo, Kingdom Hearts creator Tetsuya Nomura offered an explanation as to what was taking them so long. Nomura explained that fans had started to blame him for the delays when in reality, numerous decisions like a change of engine to Unreal Engine 4 stalled development on several occasions. Secondly, Square kept reassigning staff to other projects, which resulted in a personnel shortage, and at the time Nomura requested more staff to keep up with demand, but resources were limited.
And finally, it's the pre-order bullshit update for this week. Resident Evil 5 offered a snow globe, Dead Island offered a severed, bloodied bikini torso, Street Fighter 4 offered character-themed thumb puppets, and Infamous Second Son offered glow-in-the-dark condoms. Now, Need for Speed Payback can join the ranks of the worst pre-order bonuses ever, with its tempting offer of blue tire smoke for a $60 pre-order. All set aside, Need for Speed Payback pre-order will grant you access to something called Platinum Car Park. I nearly lost it then. Trying to go for the rhythm that I used in the original. As you'd expect, it gives you some exclusive cars to use in the game, as well as some custom paint jobs and platinum blue tyre smoke. You want a custom blow job to get me to buy a pre-order?
A custom blow job?
Custom paint
jobs?
Not
one of them off the shelf.
Yeah.
Blow job.
Custom paint? I don't know. Don't know where it's going with that. I want a sex joke in here somewhere. So.
It is bad though, isn't it? Blue tyre smoke. I don't know. I'm not a car fan. I'm not excited about Need for Speed anyway. Blue tyre smoke just seems silly to me. But maybe you love cars and maybe this like, yeah, I really want blue car tyre smoke. Just let us know why. We're interested. We're not going to laugh at you, even though we did.
We are going to laugh at you.
Bandicoot people.
But if you can take it, then just let us know why.
Alright guys, did you spot any fake news in the headlines this week? Let us know what it was down in the comments. Remember to like the video if you enjoyed it. Subscribe if you want to see more stuff like this every day. There's another video right there. You can watch that right now. And there's a link to Patreon if you want to support the channel. See you next time.